We're back at Texas Stadium for the start of the game between the Eagles and the Cowboys. Dave Campo, the Dallas Cowboys head coach, who has asked a lot of different players to step up this week on both sides of the ball for an extra effort. And Andy Reid, who would say that discipline is a high priority for him, quietly enraged would be a way of putting the fact that 3 rookies have been suspended because of an off-the-field incident back in Philadelphia, resulting in the suspension of Carell Buckhalter, the backup to Deuce Staley, but right now the leading rusher for the Eagles, Darryl Crutchfield and Terrence Carroll, 2 rookie defensive backs who had yet to be active at all this year. But that is a thorn, and Reid and the Eagles refuse to talk about that incident as we get set to go. But the Philadelphia Eagles, coming off an impressive win over the Minnesota Vikings, 48-17. That's the second time that they have scored 40 or more points in the same game. Back deep for the Cowboys, Reggie Swinton, the key returner. And David Akers kicking off, and this game is underway. And the kick heading close to the end zone. Swinton at the 2. And Reggie Swinton bringing it out and carrying a Eagle defender close to the 30-yard line. Barry Gardner finally brings him down. The Dallas Cowboy offensive line with Flozell Adams, Larry Allen, a giant at left guard, Mark Stepnoski, Kelvin Garman, and Solomon Page. Emmitt Smith returns to the starting lineup after missing 2 games due to injury for the first time in his career. And Jackie Harris and Joey Galloway are 2 of the players that Dave Campo hopes that they'll step up. And Ryan Leaf making his second start. First down at the 29-yard line. Troy Hambrick is the fullback, and Hambrick on the give breaks it through, and a first down to the 43-yard line. So Hambrick, who has been impressive in place of Emmitt Smith, gets the call and picks up 15 yards on first down. And a good job against the Eagle defense, looking to do better against the run. Derek Burgess, a rookie, will start for Brandon Whiting, who was out with a hamstring pull. Jeremiah Trotter, the key man in the middle of the linebacking core for the Eagles, and a very tough secondary with Taylor, Brian Dawkins, Damon Moore, and Troy Vincent.
Coming his way, coming his way.
From the 44, here is Emmitt Smith's first carry, and he gets an opening into Eagle territory and very close to a first down.
And this is one of the things that the Dallas Cowboys have to do. They have to be able to run the ball effectively. They have a big physical offensive line. That's why we're going to see a lot of stunts with this Eagles defensive front, because they can't stand in there and battle these guys toe-to-toe.
Yeah, and you saw how they open up the game with Troy Hambrick at fullback, a big back that has given problems to this Philadelphia Eagle defense. And then they come right back with Emmitt Smith, and that's the game plan that they want to have coming into this. They want to run the football and keep it into 3rd and short situations.
First down on the Eagle 46, and Ryan Leaf with his first passing attempt. It's underneath, and it is caught at the 40-yard line for a gain of 6 to the tight end, Jackie Harris.
And you get a look there at Ryan Leaf, and making his second start, and they wanted to evaluate Ryan last week more than what they were able to in the Atlanta ball game, but because of the success they had running the football, he didn't get a lot of opportunities to throw the football. They'd like to get him more throws, but they also recognize that they're going against a defensive football team in Philadelphia that loves to put pressure on the quarterback.
Leaf was 1 touchdown pass and 1 interception on the end around to Joey Galloway. Galloway has running room, and he gets inside the 25-yard line. So the Cowboy fans have something to cheer about early, as Galloway on the end around picks up 16 before Brian Dawkins and Derek Burgess make the stop.
Well, one of those players that Dave Campo challenged this week was Joey Galloway, and he was frustrated because he felt he wasn't part of the offense. They've run 5 reverses this year. This is the first time that Joey's had an opportunity to run the reverse.
And they haven't been able to get the ball in his hands, passing the ball as much as what they would like. So they're trying to come up with some creative ways in order to get the ball into Joey's hands.
First down on the 24-yard line. Again, it's Hambrick in motion, and Smith, and it's a play-action pass, and Ryan Leaf going down as Troy Vincent comes clean, and the whistle had blown, so no turnover on the play. Troy Vincent coming in from the cornerback position, picking up the sack.
Yeah, Troy Vincent, he's the guy playing corner right here. He's going to come off the bottom of the screen on a corner blitz, and this is something that he has grown to like doing. He didn't used to do a lot of corner blitzing early. You see him right there. Ryan Leaf doesn't feel him, and that's an area that this Cowboy offense is going to have to watch throughout this ball game. The offensive linemen in the backs have got to know when the blitzers are coming.
And Troy Vincent, he said that there's an art to blitzing. He's getting better at it, and he wants Jim Johnson, the defensive coordinator, to call his number more often.
There was a 9-yard loss on the play, and now the Cowboys will call a timeout. So Leaf has already felt the Eagle defense and will be back. No score in the first quarter.
Is brought to you by Southwest Airlines, proud sponsor of the NFL and official airline of Super Bowl 36.
And there's a look at Jim Johnson, the defensive coordinator for the Philadelphia Eagles, and what a job he does. In my opinion, the most underrated defensive coordinator in the National Football League, and he does a great job of keeping offenses off balance with the blitz, various schemes. He's as good as there is in the National Football League.
High praise for Jim Johnson. 2nd down and 19. After a Dallas timeout, the pitch goes to Emmitt Smith, and he is tackled again behind the line of scrimmage by Bobby Taylor. So the cornerbacks for the Eagles already making their presence felt.
And that's one of the things that Dallas is going to have to concentrate on during the course of this game. These guys are not cover corners. Troy Vincent and Bobby Taylor will come in. We've already seen Troy on the sack on the blitz. There's Bobby coming up in run support. They are physical football players, and they will hurt an offense not only in the passing game but also in the run game.
3rd down and 21. Darren Chiaverini and Michael Wiley.
Got Joey Galloway in the backfield.
And there is Galloway on the keeper with 3rd and long, and he is tripped up. Do you pull a play like that when you need 21 yards for the first down?
Well, I don't know that you run a play like that expecting really to get 21 yards. You take a look. Here's Joey Galloway right here in the quarterback position in shotgun. Michael Wiley, 32 there, leading, blocking, and just trying to get a lane for Joey Galloway to get some kind of room to run the football. And as you were mentioning, Dick, I don't think you call that thinking you're going to go for 21 yards in this league. The biggest thing is try to move the football and get in a position to where now you can make a field goal attempt.
And 2 new faces on the field goal unit, Mike Solwold, who was the long snapper, and John Hilbert, a rookie, undrafted rookie from Louisville. This is a 47-yard field goal attempt, and it is deflected off to the left and misses. So Tim Cedar out with an injury after what has been a disaster with bad snaps in recent weeks. And this was Hilbert's first attempt. And the score remains 0-0 on a missed field goal. Eagles getting the ball for the first time. Nearly 5 minutes gone by, and they'll have good field position after the missed field goal of 47 yards by Hilbert. The Eagles start on the 37. Donovan McNabb on play action, 1st down, and the pass thrown behind Todd Pinkston.
And actually, John Hilbert didn't miss this. This was actually blocked. And the problem is Mike Solwold is only 245 pounds. They know they're going to line up the big guys and get a push. And look who does it. Right tackle John Runyon out on the field goal block team gets a big hand on there and deflects that kick.
Eagles have won 3 in a row this year and 6 straight going back to last season. And they're looking for their 4th win in a row over the Dallas Cowboys. 2nd down and 10 from the 37-yard line, and the give is to Deuce Staley. And Staley, as Moose mentioned, coming off a big game last week, getting 8 yards, brought down by Brandon Noble. Take a look at the Philadelphia offensive line, and it's a good one. We've seen Runyon, Trey Thomas, John Welburn, Hank Fraley, and Jermaine Mayberry, the other 4. In the backfield, Deuce Staley with Cecil Martin, the good fullback, Thrash and Pinkston. Chad Lewis, the tight end, who has been poisoned against the Cowboys. So it'll be 3rd down and 2. And Donovan McNabb having a big year, 3 touchdowns and no interceptions last week against the Vikings. And the give is to Brian Mitchell, trapped in the backfield, and down he goes. And a loss of a couple on the play thanks to Jamal Brooks, the undrafted rookie from Hampton, who has the tough task of taking Dexter Coakley's place in the lineup.
Well, the guy who got that play disrupted from the beginning was Greg Ellis with great penetration in the running game. The one thing that will break down a play quicker than anything is penetration, and Greg Ellis got up the field and forced Brian Mitchell to run lateral to the line of scrimmage.
Ellis being an outstanding year for the Cowboy defense, which has been their strength. Sean Landetta in his 17th year back to punt from the 35 and gets off a beauty. Reggie Swindon backpedals inside the 10-yard line, and Swindon won't go anywhere as he is snapped at the 18 by Brian Mitchell. A 54-yard kick by the veteran Landetta. No score in the first. Cecil Martin, the Eagles fullback, being worked on behind the bench. And the Cowboys will start from the 19-yard line. Each team has had the ball once. Ryan Leaf, the fourth quarterback to start for the Cowboys in 8 games. We've also already seen some trickery by the Dallas offense. Bread and butter to Emmitt Smith, diving forward for a couple. And right now, for our first game break of the day, let's check in with James Brown. JB.
Hey, Dick, Carolina leads the NFC in takeaways with 24 and make this 25 today. Forcing a fumble, recovering it. Winky to Hundley. Winky, you know, was out last week with a sprained shoulder. 7-0 Carolina over San Francisco. Dick, Troy, and Darryl.
Somehow, some way, George Seifert, when he's been with the Panthers, have always had success against the 49ers, but it is early. 2nd down and 7. From the 22-yard line, again, it's Emmitt Smith. Emmitt Smith bouncing off a tackler, twists his way to the 24-yard line for a gain of 2. Mike Caldwell, the outside linebacker, on the tackle.
Yeah, and Mike Caldwell, boy, what a year he is having up to this point, and a real pleasant surprise for the Eagles defense, a job that he's been able to do throughout the season. It seems like every time there's a play to be made, this is the guy that's been able to make it. And really across the board, Moose, their linebackers are as good as anybody's in the league.
They really are. And a defensive unit that's playing as well as they are. Andy Reid didn't hesitate at all when we asked him, what's the strength of that unit? He said right away that linebacking core.
3rd down and 5 with 3 wide receivers. And the short drop, and this pass off the hands of Joey Galloway on the high toss, incomplete. And so the Cowboys will have to punt. On their first possession, they had a field goal blocked, and the Eagles had good field position, and the Birds could get good field position again.
Well, I think this game's going to ultimately come down to who's able to establish the best field position. And 3rd down right there, they have a shot at Joey Galloway on an open out route, and they're unable to connect on that. And that's Ryan Leaf is a little bit erratic as a passer, and that's something that he's going to have to improve on. They need to be able to convert those 3rd downs when they have them.
Micah Noor back to punt, and the lefty gets off a bad kick. And it goes out of bounds in Cowboy territory. So adding insult to injury, talk about good field position. That 21-yarder by Noor, and the Eagles looking good right now. Steer country here in Texas, where the Cowboys and the Eagles go at it again in the first quarter. Cecil Martin back in the game at fullback for the Eagles, and Deuce Staley cutting up the middle and picking up about 3.5 yards on the play. Let's check out the Cowboys defensively. They've got to play well to hang in the game. Pepe Zellner, Brandon Noble, Michael Myers, and Greg Ellis. That's a good defensive front. Rookie Marcus Steele. Jamal Brooks, also a rookie, is starting in place of Dexter Coakley and his backup Arantes Grant. So they had to go to the 3rd stringer. Mario Edwards and Duan Hawthorne are the cornerbacks, and George Teague and Darren Woods in the safeties. 2nd down and 6, and the pass is caught, and it may be enough for the 1st down to Todd Pinkston. His forward progress was pretty close. Duan Hawthorne was covering on the play, and it all depends on where they spot. And it is a 1st down for the Eagles. Donovan McNabb, only 4 interceptions all year. On 1st down from the 35-yard line, and on the end around, Freddie Mitchell, the rookie from Tennessee, trying to elude the Cowboy, and he can't do it. Byron Frisch wouldn't let him go. It was like a good old-fashioned rodeo, and a loss of 16 yards back into Eagle territory.
Well, when you've got outside contain, you've got to stay home. And here's Byron Frisch right up here. And with a guy like Donovan McNabb, this is going to be important. Watch how he sees that play coming and maneuvers his way upfield. That's a good job of team defense and staying at home on the backside.
No question. And they're going to tell these defensive ends all day long, not only for those type of reverse plays, but also they know that they have to contain Donovan McNabb. And so you're going to see the ends getting up the field. I don't see the reverses working in this ball game for the Eagles.
Not at this rate. Second down and 26. And here is a play action pass, a good fake, and McNabb overthrows the tight end Chad Lewis. And the Cowboy fans hanging in there in the first quarter. In the first time these teams played, the Eagles scored 26 points in the second quarter, en route to a 40-18 thrashing.
Yeah, and what is it that Andy Reid told us in our meeting last night, that he didn't feel like the offense played well in that ball game. It was just that the Philadelphia defense was able to create turnovers and give them the short field. The offense for the Eagles capitalized on it, but overall in that game, the Eagles offense did not play well.
Cowboys have the lowest third down defensive percentage in the league, but they got to defend against 26 yards, and on the swing pass to Deuce Staley, he'll barely get into Cowboy territory. Well, you knew the Cowboys would be tough to capitalize needing 26 yards, and that'll bring up fourth down and a punt.
Well, it's a great job by the Cowboy defense. They gave up good field position to the Philadelphia Eagles, yet because of the reverse and the way that Byron Frisch was able to make that play, they then were able to reestablish field position. And we're going to talk about this. This game is going to be a game that's built on field position and who's able to control the football.
And that's the way this game is panning out. Landeta, who had a 54-yarder the first time, now trying to keep it in play, and the fair catch called for by Reggie Swinton at the 10-yard line. No score with 4:32 remaining in the first quarter. Marks the second half of our Fox NFL doubleheader, and the fans in Dallas will see the Chicago Bears against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Bears losing last week after capturing 6 in a row. Tampa Bay looking to get back into the race. And here is the NFC Central as you see it, with Green Bay and Chicago tied for first, and the Buccaneers 2 games behind. Cowboys from their 11. Emmitt Smith trying to turn the corner. Doesn't quite do it, picking up about 4 on the play, with Damon Moore, the strong safety, coming up.
Well, one of the guys who really makes all this happen, you look at number 73 here, Larry Allen, is just arguably the best offensive lineman in football, and one of the reasons for that is he's able to get out in space and block people. You see him right there blocking linebacker Carlos Emmons, and he just does a nice job, whether it's linebackers he's blocking or defensive backs. He's tremendous when he's pulling out there with his speed and his agility for a man that size.
And he keeps his feet when he pulls and he gets out there, and it's amazing to see him. He doesn't throw at the guy, and he's able to get better blocks by keeping his feet.
Second down and 6, and the give is to Emmitt Smith. And Smith, who had never missed 2 consecutive games because of injuries, had a sprained knee, missed the last 2, but coming back with a 14-yard pickup and a first down.
Well, and Moose talked about it earlier, in the job that these guys have to do up front, this offensive line, in order to move out. They're a much bigger offensive front than what the Eagles are defensively, and the criticism on Emmitt Smith this season has been his lack of hitting the hole and getting north and south. Certainly on that play right there, did a great job of it.
Cowboys have run the ball on a 3-to-1 ratio more than they passed. They're one of 4 teams in the league who have run more than passed overall this year. And on first down, plenty of time for Ryan Leaf. He completes it to Rocket Ismail, and a first down close to midfield. Tackle made by Troy Vincent.
And it all starts with the protection up front. Flozell Adams is going to have a battle all day long with Hugh Douglas, and you'll see right here, this is a big man against a quick guy, and he doesn't let Hugh Douglas get off the line of scrimmage.
And you watch Rocket Ismail down here. He runs a square in, and because of his speed, he's able to get Troy Vincent off of him. And these corners, whether it's Troy Vincent or Bobby Taylor, they know the speed that Joey Galloway and Rocket Ismail have, and they're going to give him some cushion.
That was a 20-yard pickup, and on first down, here is Emmitt Smith, and he's tackled behind the line of scrimmage for a 2-yard loss. And right now, for a game break, let's check in with James Brown in Los Angeles.
Hey, Dick, not a great start for Brett Favre in Green Bay. Here, he fumbles the ball. He's already got 2 turnovers in the first half. 1 fumble, 1 pick. He leads the NFL with 9 first-half picks. Right now, the Falcons are leading 6-0. Back to Dick, Troy, and Darryl.
Boy, surprised to see Green Bay come out and struggle after that big win last week. Kind of what we're talking about with Philadelphia.
And they got off to a slow start last week before they found their rhythm. Second down 11 from the 48-yard line. And Ryan Leaf getting pressure. And Ryan Leaf smartly throws the ball into the second row. Corey Simon chasing Ryan Leaf down, and that will bring up 3rd and long.
Well, these the guys do such a good job. Derek Burgess right there starting in place of Brandon Whiting. You see a little twist move right here. The right guard, Kelvin Garman, gets on him late. Just late enough in order for Burgess to get pressure on Ryan Leaf, and he just has to unload that one. And that's something that this offensive line for the Cowboys have got to be able to recognize. They didn't handle it very well in the first matchup. They've got to do a better job today in order to give Ryan Leaf some time to get the ball down the field.
3rd and 11. Short drop, and on the slant, Rocket Ismail driving, and he may have the first down. Rocket Ismail trying to push the defender Troy Vincent back, and it's going to be close. And where they spot the ball, it would indicate that they may be a little short. They're going to measure. Very close as to a Cowboy first down, but at least they get out of trouble. They started on the 11-yard line, Troy, and now they're at the 41 of Philadelphia.
Well, they're doing a nice job overall of moving the football, and this is a team historically that has struggled offensively moving the football against this defensive team. And you know, you see Rocket Ismail and the job that he's done. See if they got this first down.
By the length of a football, maybe a little more, so it's 4th. And Dave Campo.
Well, Troy, you've talked about field position all day. This is a chance right here for Dallas to punt the ball and pin him deep. Or do you roll the dice? And it looks like Dave Campbell's chosen to roll the dice on 4th down.
Yeah, they're going to roll the dice here, and this is one of those situations that you just mentioned, Moose. When you go for it here, I think your team, if you're able to get it, it really builds confidence. It lets the players know that your coaches have confidence in them. But as you mentioned, if they fail to make it, boy, it plays right into Philadelphia's hands and immediately gives them the field position back.
Well, you got a 6'5" quarterback, and you only need about a foot and a half.
6'5" and about 280.
Dick, I know you'd like to see him empty the backfield and do the quarterback sneak. That's one of your favorite plays in this situation.
I like quarterback sneak. I'm not crazy about emptying the backfield. But here's Emmitt Smith. He'll get the first down. And the crowd responds, and hopefully for Dave Campo, his team will as well, as Carlos Emmons making the tackle, and the Cowboys get a first down on the Eagles 39.
Well, the place you're going to go is over to Larry Allen and Flozell Adams. Those are your big guys. That's where your best matchups are. And actually, Matt Lair in the game right there, getting out in front, doing a good job. He comes in for Larry Allen every once in a while and does a really nice job when he has an opportunity on the field.
And I think the fact that they went for it there on 4th down just illustrates they know that they're a little overmatched going up against this football team. They're going to have to take some chances in this game.
What an edge on first down so far. Here is Emmitt Smith up the middle, and a good first down run by Emmitt Smith of 5 yards. Hugh Douglas making the stop as we have under a half a minute remaining in the first quarter, as the Eagles, who trounced the Cowboys in their first meeting, and of course, as Dave Campo said, there's a pride factor here. The Eagles, the only team that has really put the Cowboys away early this season, and that will be the end of the first quarter with the score: the Eagles nothing and the Cowboys nothing. Fox NFL Sunday will continue after these messages. Second quarter, no score. And as we look at the first quarter stats, we see some minuses in the Eagle column.
You see some minuses there, yeah, and you're wondering if maybe this Cowboy defense is up to the task with Philadelphia. But the big thing right here is 75 rushing yards for the Dallas Cowboys. That's what they wanted to establish so far in the first quarter. They've been able to do that.
And you would think with those numbers they would have a lead, but they don't. No score. But 2nd and 5 from the 34 of the Eagles. And here is Emmitt Smith cutting upfield and unable to get away from Brian Dawkins, the safety. Well, here we are, guys, reunited again. And I know, Troy, as I mentioned at the outset, you're so grateful not to be down on the field against the Philadelphia Eagles defense.
I tell you, over 12 years, year in and year out, this, without question, is the toughest defensive football team that I had to face, and I know it was no easy task for you either.
No, because these guys come from all over the football field, and they're guys that come from a position you don't expect. And we've already seen Troy Vincent with a clean hit on Ryan Leaf, and I know that you took a bunch of those during your career. Not only do they sack you, but they just come free.
One thing we would never do is show that game in which you were sacked heavily. 3rd down and 3, and the first down to Randy Galloway at the 22-yard line. Well, maybe we will show that game back on September of '91. Troy? You remember? What do you remember, if anything?
Well, what I remember is we gave up 11 sacks. It was Norv Turner's 3rd game that he called for the Dallas Cowboys. And after that game, I wasn't sure we had the right guy coordinating our offense. Little did I know he goes on to help us win 2 Super Bowls, and obviously I'm just kidding about that, but that was right when we were starting to come back and really start the incline for our organization.
A lot of people talk about the Baltimore Ravens defense last year. Let me tell you, that group of that Philadelphia defense that season was unbelievable.
First down pass thrown away. Ismail was the intended receiver.
Well, and that right there, Dick, was the same route they had thrown to the other side of the field to Joey Galloway, just a quick out route, you know, there to Rocket Ismail, and Ryan again sails it high, and that's a route that is very prominent in this offensive system. That's something that the quarterback and the receivers have got to be on the same page on. And that's where Ryan really struggles, was with some of his accuracy. And
that's one that's based on timing and a feel between quarterback and receiver. Is that something that will improve over time because he'll get to throw more balls to Rocket and to Joey in practice?
I think it will improve, and obviously he hasn't been in this system as long as what some of these other quarterbacks have.
2nd down and 10, play fake, and they go the other way, and the fullback Johnny Huggins. And that could always be dangerous if it's tipped into the air, and the Eagles were ready for it. Brian Dawkins was in the neighborhood, and it's a you can let your breath out time for the Cowboys here.
Well, one of the ways that they want to try to slow down this pass rush for the Philadelphia Eagles is they want to do some misdirection stuff. You see Johnny Huggins right here. He's going to work out to the outside. Excuse me, he was the one in motion, but they sprint out to the right. Johnny Huggins there, and they come with the throwback, and everything is there except for they're not able to complete the pass.
3rd down and 10, the 13th play of the drive. Well, the Eagles spotted something. 3rd and 10 from the 23 out of the shotgun, and Ryan Leaf throws it into traffic, and fortunately for him it's incomplete because there were 3 or 4 Eagle in the way. Mike Caldwell, they're very nearly had the interception, and it'll be 4th down.
Well, I know Paul Grasmanis had to be excited right there because he was pass rushing against Darren Shiverini, a wide receiver who was all the way inside in the tight end position. Right here, he's going to be freed up. You saw them move him out to the outside. That's one-on-one, a wide receiver versus a defensive or defensive end, actually Derek Burgess, and that's not what you want to have going on all day long.
John Hilbert, who had his first field goal attempt blocked from 47, will try a 41-yard field goal, and this kick is no good off to the right. So John Hilbert, who was in the Cowboy camp 2 years ago and had tryouts with the Bills and Saints. There is Tim Cedar, and it's a bad snap. Well, the new guy didn't do his job either, centering the ball. We'll be right back. Still no score.
And Miller Lite. Grab a Miller Lite. It's Miller time. By Visa, it's everywhere NFL fans want to be. By Fidelity Investments, we can help you see yourself succeeding. And by Spy Game, starring Robert Redford and Brad Pitt. Spy Game, in theaters Wednesday.
Still a scoreless game here at Texas Stadium early in the 2nd quarter, as John Hilbert had 1 field goal blocked. He missed the other one after a bad snap. So the woes continue for the Cowboys in that department, and there is a McNabb trying to get it out to Todd Pixton. Can't do it. Incomplete. Let's check in with Pam Oliver today. Pam, hi.
All right. Hi, Dick. So far, this game is not going according to Andy Reid's plan because he believes his team has shown a tendency to follow up a high-scoring affair with a letdown. Remember that they beat the Cowboys 40-18 earlier this year, then followed that up with a 21-20 loss to the Cardinals. Of course, they beat Minnesota 48-17 last week, and so far they're off to a slow start again. Back to you.
Thanks, Pam. 2nd and 10 out of the backfield is rookie Jamie Reeder, who is in for Cecil Martin. And Reeder picking up 3 yards with Dad Wynn and Dewan Hawthorne on the tackle. And let's take a look at the Eagles' woes offensively first 2 times.
Yeah, they haven't gotten off to the start that they'd like to, obviously. And, you know, one of the things, like on that particular play right there, Donovan McNabb, what they're trying to get him to do is they'd like for him to throw the ball more vertically up the field. He has a tendency to come down to his checkdowns, his underneath things. He doesn't spend much time looking down the field, and they'd like to encourage him to do that more.
3rd down and 7, and this pass also thrown underneath. It is incomplete, and knocking it away from Chad Lewis is Eisel Reese. So 4th down coming up And the one thing you can say about the Eagles thus far, they have had good field position and have not been able to muster anything.
Well, they have really squandered some opportunities, and on that graphic we saw one of those possessions where they lost 2 yards. They got the ball at the Dallas 45-yard line. So as Pam mentioned, this game is unfolding just the way Andy Reid hoped it wouldn't, with this team not really matching the emotion of the Dallas Cowboys right now after that big win last weekend.
Sean Landeta will kick, and Reggie Swinton back deep for the Cowboys. Another deep high kick by Landeta. Swinton back on the 14. Falls down and is put down at the 17-yard line. So a 51-yard kick by Landeta. He's doing it today for the Eagles. Still no score in Irving. It's an eye test for you, Troy, early in the game.
What's that? I don't see anything,
okay.
Dick.
All right. Sorry, Cowboy fans. Cowboys starting from the 17-yard line. They have had the short end of the field position game so far. Emmitt Smith, the lone setback. And Emmitt Smith running with the ball. And a good gain out to the 25-yard line before Bobby Taylor brings him down. And a fumble, and Taylor recovers it. So Emmitt Smith coughs it up, and Taylor recovers a fumble.
One of the things that will happen when you haven't played in a couple of weeks is you lose sense of ball security. And right there, Emmitt Smith trying to make some stuff happen at the end of that run allows Bobby Taylor to come in and strip the ball from him and make the recovery. You'll see as he wraps up right here, you can see it's a little bit loose, and Bobby just pulls as Emmitt goes up the field and gets that ball out.
Yeah, and that's the kind of player that Bobby Taylor is. He's not a real fast guy, not a real quick guy, but he's a real headsy player, and he makes plays like that when they present themselves.
From the 25-yard line, first down, flag is down, and it's been a penalty-free game up until this point. There's Bobby Taylor with a key fumble recovery for the Eagles.
Right of the snap, false start, offense, number 69, 5-yard penalty, remains first down.
Terry McCauley with the signal of the false start, 5-yard penalty against John Runyon. By the way, Cecil Martin, the Eagle fullback, has a hamstring pull, and it's questionable as to whether he'll return. So Jamie Reeder, who was in the last series, is in there. There's Emmitt Smith, who had fumbled, and hoping the Cowboys defense stops the Eagles here on 1st and 15. McNabb taking off. And McNabb, with great ability to run, many people think he's more of a running back than a quarterback. And that win runs him out of bounds at the 20 after a pickup of 10.
Yeah, and that's when Donovan McNabb really is most dangerous. It's not when he's sitting in the pocket and looking for receivers. He wants to hang in there as much as he can. He wants to be able to throw the football, but when he's dangerous, when he gets out on the corner like this, and the guys know, the running backs that are out there in front of him, they know that he's going to be running, and they're looking to make blocks. Once he breaks contain, you see the linemen down there looking to block for him, and the receivers at the same time are trying to find lanes for him to throw him the ball.
Averaging nearly 6 yards a carry this season. 2nd down and 4. And the handoff to Deuce Staley. Deuce Staley is stopped at the 17 or 18-yard line. Still a couple of yards shy of the first down. And it was John Nix and Darren Woodson, the Eagles, coming into this game perfect in the red zone in 24 possessions, have 17 touchdowns and 7 3-pointers. The only team perfect in the red zone, and going against the team that's the worst in the red zone defensively.
Well, I think that's one of the most impressive things about this Eagles offense is that right there and what they've been able to do in the red zone. And the reason they've been able to do it is because of the play of number 5, Donovan McNabb. They're able to run him around. He does a great job of finding receivers down here.
See if he does here on 3rd down and 3, and he's going to run it and slides. And let's see if he has the yardage.
Well, I think he's going to come up a little bit short by sliding feet first. He's got to dive on that one so they can take the mark from the spot where he's touched. By sliding, they're going to mark that ball where he initiated the slide.
And you're right, Moose. He appears to be short of the first down by a yard. And you can see that Donovan McNabb a little upset with himself on that run.
Well, now it's decision time for this Eagles offense on what they're going to do. And they'll be going for the first down.
Just as the Cowboys did and made it, although they did not score. So here's 4th and 1. And the handoff to Deuce Staley. First down inside the 10 and close to the 5-yard line. So Deuce Staley going off the right side. Marcus Steele and George Teague make the tackle. 1st and goal, Eagles.
Deuce Staley this is the first time that he's been healthy since the season opener. And last week, one of the things that everybody remarked about was how he was moving the pile. He wasn't getting downed on first contact. He had yards after that first contact. And right there, a situation with a 4th and 1, does a nice job of finding the hole. But watch how he finishes his runs. He punishes people at the end of his runs.
1st and goal at the 6. McNabb to Staley. Staley driving to the goal line is going to be pushed back. And it was Mario Edwards who led the charge for the Cowboys. Staley last week gaining 146 yards, scoring a touchdown, and that was his first 100-yard game since the opener last year when he ran for 201 against the Cowboys.
Yeah, and the thing is that last week he finally got an opportunity to carry the load, and he responded extremely well, as you just said. And he does a nice job of just making people miss. He's extremely shifty in the hole, and he's got a little bit of power to go along with that, and really a tremendous back, and just now getting to where he's 100% again.
He had a bruised shoulder. 2nd and goal at the 2, and here is a play action pass, and all alone in the end zone is Chad Lewis. So Chad Lewis, who has 3 touchdown catches this year, all against the Dallas Cowboys, becomes a Cowboy killer, so to speak, and the Eagles get up first.
Well, Chad Lewis, he's going to be right here at tight end, and so many times teams start getting so worried about the run that they fail to recognize the tight end. Dat Win right there, the guy who's got to be looking for that, he comes up and gets sucked up on the run fake and allows Chad Lewis to get to the corner.
David Akers for the conversion. And the extra point is good. So Emmitt Smith's fumble cost the Cowboys, as Chad Lewis on the receiving end of the touchdown pass from Donovan McNabb, and the Eagles lead the Cowboys 7-0.
Go back and take a look at the touchdown. First of all, look at the depth of Dat Win, and the other thing is, look what the play fake does to everybody. It sucks everybody up in the line of scrimmage and allows Chad Lewis just to run by them. It doesn't get any easier than that to get it into the end zone for a touchdown.
Chad Lewis, who had a big year last year, more of a target and a weapon. This year they're going more to the receivers, and on the kickoff for Reggie Swindon returning for the Cowboys, who trail 7-0. Swindon still on his feet, and a good return up to the 33-yard line. Well, the key plays on the sequence, starting with the fumble by Emmitt Smith, recovered by Bobby Taylor, and then the 4th down run.
And Dallas cannot afford to give him a short field. They gamble there and go for the 4th and 1 and make it to continue the drive and finish it off with a touchdown pass to Chad Lewis. And Dallas has to play nearly air-free to be able to win this football game this afternoon. And turning the ball over deep in their end, they've really dominated the game to this point statistically and find themselves behind 7-0.
Tuition, 12 men in the huddle. Offense, 5-yard penalty.
So 5-yard penalty against
1st down.
The Dallas Cowboys. And for a game break, let's check in with James Brown. JB.
Hey, Dick, I know Darryl Johnston will love this one. Take a look. Atlanta expanding the lead over Green Bay. Chandler hooking up with Bobby Christian. Yep, there's Darryl Johnston type run. He takes it in for the score. 13-3 Falcons. Jeff Garcia hooking up with J.J. Stokes. A 14-yard strike. All tied up in Carolina. Back to Dick, Troy, and Darryl.
Thank you, JB. Troy Hambrick with his 2nd carry of the game, and gaining about a yard, now relegated to backup status, so to speak, with Emmitt Smith.
Well, you look at Troy Hambrick, and when he's been able to run and where he's been most effective is when he's been in the tailback position. But when Emmitt Smith comes back, it makes him have to go play fullback, and he's out of position at that spot. The other thing to note is that he's playing fullback with a bruised shoulder, so he's not carrying the ball as much, and he will be asked to be a lead blocker for Emmitt.
3rd and 12. So a couple of tough tasks for Hambrick, and a fumble, and the Eagles get it back, and it looked like Jeremiah Trotter picks it up. So now, after a scoreless first quarter, memories of that first debacle with 5 turnovers committed by the Cowboys. This is their 2nd.
Well, and I think what you got to realize is that they have fumbled a snap in just about every ball game that they've played this year, and it's something that they try to work on. They address it in practice, but for some reason the work that they put in during the week is not translating into the exchange out on the field. And there's no sooner way to lose a football game than when you cannot even execute the simple basics of football on quarterback center exchanges.
So the bad exchange, and then of course the bad snap on the field goal attempt earlier, giving the Eagles 1st and 10 at the 33. Here's the pass to Pinkston in the end zone. Incomplete. Flag is down. Juwan Hawthorne arguing with the official. He was step for step with Pinkston. And the call will go against the Cowboys, creating a 1st and goal.
Pass interference. Defense. Number 38. Automatic 1st down.
Well, they're going to run a double move, and you see Donovan McNabb does it off play action. There's the fake right there that holds Dwayne Hawthorne just enough. Here's the pattern with Pinkston on the outside. As you can see, Hawthorne's got him with his right arm there. But Pinkston's hanging on him just as well.
But he's got his head turned back to the quarterback.
Yes.
I know that they watch that arm bar, but when he's establishing position, he has as much right. And Todd Pinkston's doing the same thing. That's a situation where you just let the guys play football on the outside.
And there's Deuce Staley going in motion, and the pass. And Staley on the cut, and McNabb missed him, incomplete, bringing up 2nd and goal. I'd have to agree with you guys because number one, we saw Pinkston's arm, but you're right, Hawthorne was playing the ball.
Looks like they tried the same thing again that they scored the 1st touchdown on, with Chad Lewis using the play action. And one of the things here is, you know, they have such a good feel between Donovan McNabb and Chad Lewis. Dallas very fortunate that he didn't find that little dead area in the end zone.
2nd and goal, and Deuce Staley is driven down, and that was Michael Myers, who has played outstanding ball. Andy Reid telling us last night that he's been impressed with Myers' play, and a loss of 6.
Well, Michael Myers is an outstanding football player in this system, and what they've been able to do is they've put him in a 3 technique, and it allows him to shoot the gap and use his quickness. He's not an overly big guy. A lot of times he's outmatched when he goes against these bigger offensive linemen. So from a scheme perspective, the Cowboy coaches, Mike Zimmer, the defensive coordinator, has done a great job of putting him in a position to where he can have success.
3rd and goal, the ball back to the 8-yard line, and the play action for McNabb. His pass is intercepted. Darren Woodson. And Darren Woodson with his 1st interception in the red zone over the last 2 seasons. And the Cowboys escape further damage.
Well, and you mentioned it earlier, Dick, that the Eagles have scored every time they've gotten down here. This is the 1st time they failed to produce points.
Season only the 6th for the Cowboys, who did not pick one off against Atlanta last week. And Troy making the good point that the Eagles had been perfect from the red zone until that interception. So the Cowboys get it back. 1st down on the 5-yard line, trailing still 7-0. Ryan Leaf back into his end zone, and he's going to go deep to Rocket Ismail, and Ismail just beyond him. Covered downfield by Troy Vincent.
But we go back and take a look at the interception. You got Freddie Mitchell right here, Darren Woodson, and then James Thrash. Watch what happens. He's going to go here, but Woodson's going to drop underneath James Thrash. That's the guy that Donovan McNabb does not see. He throws it thinking he's got a lane in there to James Thrash. Darren Woodson's in there to make the interception.
And here's Rocket Ismail on that last play. Boy, Dallas getting very aggressive, coming off their goal line. Just a little bit overthrown by Ryan Leaf, and unfortunately Rocket actually came up a little bit bumped up after that. You see that left shoulder get tucked on the tackle.
Reggie Swinton checking in at wide receiver, and there is the flip out of the backfield to Emmitt Smith, and Smith gets it to the 11-yard line, which will be a 3rd and about 3 or 4 with Jeremiah Trotter, the middle linebacker, on the play, looking at Rocket Ismail on the sideline after that long run and tumble on the pass attempt. Leaf so far 5 of 11, And that was the first time he had unleashed one. Didn't do it last week as much.
Well, and we had talked about how there were going to be 3 or 4 opportunities for Ryan Leaf to make a play down the field and for them to connect on a big play. That was the first opportunity that they had. They had a chance at Rocket. They just failed to connect.
3rd and 3. And this pass incomplete out to the right side, and pressure being put on Ryan Leaf by Derek Burgess, who's starting in place of Brandon Whiting.
He's really taken advantage of the opportunity to get that start this afternoon, and they were worried about it in the running game. Brandon Whiting, a bigger guy, their best run stuffer on that defensive front, but Derek Burgess brings a lot to the passing game. He's got some great feet, a little bit undersized guy. He's going to be your pass rush specialist, and right now he is giving Solomon Page some fits on the outside.
Mike Solwold with another snap, but this time Micah Noor with a punt, and the Eagles were coming in. They wanted to get a piece of it, and Brian Mitchell in Cowboy territory, and one of the top return men in NFL annals, brings it to the 30-yard line. A 35-yard punt, and Mitchell brings it back.
Well, they got one the first time they played, and Dallas has really struggled in their protection. They just do a little twist on the outside, and Jamie Reeder comes free up the middle, just misses that punt. But the thing about Brian Mitchell, and watch the other guys, watch Reggie Swinton when he returns a punt, and then watch Brian Mitchell. He catches the ball, he goes straight up the field. He's a north-south returner. In the punt game, he'll find that seam and split it real quick, as opposed to trying to go sideline to find that.
Yeah, and you talk about they had a punt block last week, and as soon as a team sees that on film, you can bet that they're going to try to come after you the following week.
On the 29-yard line, here is Deuce Staley. And Staley gets about a yard. Cecil Martin, by the way, who's had the hamstring problem, back in the game. Want to remind you, coming up on Thanksgiving Day on Fox, it'll be the Packers and the Lions, 11:30 Eastern, 8:30 Pacific. Did we get turkey legs from John Madden on the turducken?
Well, you know what? I had my first turducken a few weeks ago, and so I ordered them, and we've got 5 turduckens for Thanksgiving this year.
Well, you don't need John giving you a leg. He doesn't need a leg up. Here's Deuce Staley with more than a leg up, going off the left side and out of bounds. After picking up 18 yards, and Deuce Staley, who got the first down on the last possession when the Eagles scored.
Well, they're going to run out to the left here, and to be able to run the ball outside, it's the blocking of your tight end, and Chad Lewis does a great job of reaching Byron Frisch, and actually is able to get to the second level and pick up a linebacker. Here you'll see him right here. Watch him. He gets there. They do a nice job to tackle tight end, and then he throws at Jamal Brooks. That's just an outstanding job by Chad Lewis in the run game.
Isel Reese knocking him out of bounds. 1st and goal at the 10 for the Eagles. They got another chance here. Deuce Staley with a pickup of 4 yards on the play.
Michael Myers and Jamal Brooks make the tackle.
Staley so far has carried 9 times for 44 yards.
I think that game last week against Minnesota really allowed him to get his confidence back and get back into the groove of playing and being the guy who's going to carry the ball down after down. And you see it happening in this game. You see the confidence that he's gaining with each carry.
2nd and goal at the 7. Play action for McNabb, in trouble. And finally throws it out of the end zone. So a smart play by Donovan McNabb after Demetric Evans.
Well, Donovan McNabb, the one thing is that he's got 15 touchdown passes on the season, which is a high number at this point in the year. And a lot of it is because they will throw the football down here in the red zone. You see him here giving the stiff arm, which allows him to get outside, and that's when he gets dangerous, and that's why he's been a real focal point of why this offense has had success in the red zone, because they like to move him around. He has the patience to try to find the receivers, and he does a really nice job once they get inside the 20-yard line.
So it's 3rd and goal at the 7, and there is McNabb with a fake and a pass incomplete, and the closest to it was Darren Woodson, who got a hand on it, and that will bring up a 4th down.
Well, they must have seen something on film, because this is the 2nd time they've tried a double move. This is a slant and go this time. You'll see James Thrash break to the slant and then release back outside. Dwayne Hawthorne does a nice job. Darren Woodson almost gets his 2nd interception coming over the top at the safety position.
Yeah, Woodson does a nice job in that coverage of seeing them trying to run the slant, then go to the corner. He stays on the move and is in a position for the interception.
David Akers, who has missed just 1 field goal attempt under 40 yards in his career. This is from 24 yards out, and it is good. So the Eagles take a 10-0 lead with just under 4 minutes to go in the first half.
Try to do in the passing game, but he hasn't been healthy enough for him to be involved.
David Akers with a low bouncing kick picked up by Reggie Swinton. Swinton with a stunner move and going right at the Eagle defender, takes it out to the 40-yard line, and that Eagle defender is none other than David Akers, the kicker. A 34-yard return by Swinton. So here is Ryan Leaf going to work, and it's been a revolving door as you look at the Cowboys. It's a long time when before they change quarterbacks, but it's been a flurry lately.
Yeah, and that's what they want to try to resolve in this organization. There's a real premium right now being placed on trying to find the quarterback that's going to lead this football team for the next several years. I think this organization believes they got to have a key guy in that position.
Emmitt Smith off the right side, and not much there. Quincy Carter, who has been out with a hamstring pull in the surgery, is ahead of schedule, and they expect that he's going to be back in December, and that is the quarterback, the rookie that they really want to evaluate, and that's a favorite word around here these days.
Well, that is a big word that you hear every day from Coach Dave Campo and the owner Jerry Jones, and they want to evaluate Quincy Carter when he gets healthy, and in between that they want to be able to evaluate Ryan Leaf, and they're hoping that they can get enough games under each of their belts to have a pretty good indication when the season ends where they're at.
2nd and 8 at the 42-yard line, and here is Emmitt Smith, and he falls. No gain on the play.
And right now we got Emmitt Smith getting up a little bit slow, so hopefully he hasn't re-injured that knee. But that was very un-22-like, slipping in the turf. But right now, it'll be interesting to see what Jim Johnson's next plan, the defensive coordinator, is. He likes to come in with a couple plans and adjust as the game unfolds. Right now, I don't think we've seen nearly the pressure we expected from this Eagles defense. And Dallas has had an opportunity to take advantage of that at times. So hopefully we'll see a little bit more pressure by this Eagle front seven.
3rd and 7 on the Cowboy 43. 10-0, Philadelphia leading. Here's Ryan Leaf throwing a bounding ball to Joey Galloway, a one-hopper, incomplete, and the crowd boos Leaf as he comes off the field.
Well, you know, Ryan Leaf, it's been pretty well documented that he's had this problem with his wrist. In fact, when the Cowboys wanted to sign him several months ago, he flunked the physical because of his wrist, and he has problems with it, and he said at times it will go out and it will dramatically affect the trajectory of his footballs. I've got to believe on that pass right there something happened with the wrist.
He has 1 for his last 7, and Micah Noor coming in to kick, and the penalty markers fly, stopping the play.
Prior to the snap, false start, offense, number 52, 5-yard penalty, remains 4th down.
Now here's another look at the pass, and Ryan Leaf, the trajectory of the ball, it comes down awful low, and that will happen. That will happen when that wrist, it's a ligament in his wrist, and they're afraid to go in and do surgery on that wrist because they don't know what the effects will be. It could be so stiff that he's not even able to throw a football. If in fact he's going to be the long-term solution for this football team, that's clearly something that's got to be addressed.
They called the penalty on Dexter Coakley, and I don't think that's possible. Another penalty marker down, and here is the kick. And Brian Mitchell returning for the Eagles. Dexter Coakley, of course, out with a knee injury, so it wasn't Coakley, and Mitchell returning to the 34-yard line, but there were penalty flags back at the 40. And this will be a 5-yard penalty against the Eagles.
Well, in the kicking game, you can't come into the neutral zone to try and flinch the team that's kicking, and that was a situation right there. There was a reaction by a Dallas player in protection, but he was lured by one of the defensive front guys from the Philadelphia Eagles.
Offside, defense, defensive end, 5-yard penalty, repeat, 4th down.
So they'll kick it again with 2:16 remaining in the second quarter. Ryan Leaf, highly touted San Diego Charger, had his problems with the media, and as far as he is concerned, just a bad situation for him. and one he just as soon forget, but there'll always be a question as far as Ryan Leaf and how he will handle himself wherever he goes. Again, 4th down, and here is Knorr, and he gets off a beauty. Mitchell back to the 6. And the Cowboys will bring Mitchell down at the 20, led by Troy Hambrick. A 50-yard kick that time by Knorr.
And Darren Woodson's one of the guys. Here he is right here. He's one of the guys on this football team that does everything that's asked of him. He's been in the league for almost 10 years now, and right there battling with Quentin Caver, a rookie. And you know, that's the type of guy you have to have on the football team. Yeah, he's not down there making a play, but you know what? He's one of those guys that really shouldn't even be on the field in that situation yet. He'll do anything he has to help this team win football games.
Well, that's exactly right. So much of asked of him as a defensive player, and yet then he sacrifices his body even more than that when he gets his opportunities to play on special teams.
First down at the 20. Deuce Staley runs hard into a defender, and that was Duan Hawthorne, and flag is down. Penalty marker down. So again, we will tell the orchestra to stop the music as we're down to the 2-minute warning. This penalty is against the Cowboys.
Offside, defense, nose guard, lined up in the neutral zone, 5-yard penalty. Repeat, first down. That is the 2-minute warning.
All right, the penalty, and now drum it up. 2-minute warning. We'll be back. It's 10-0 Eagles. Eagles leading 10-0 over the Cowboys. Coming up on the Visa halftime report, JB, Terry, Howie, and Chris will have scores and highlights from around the league, and the Fox Sports ticker will keep you updated with up to the second stats. 1st and 5 at the 25-yard line. Following the Cowboys penalty, Donovan McNabb going underneath, and to Deuce Staley, he eluded one defender, and finally is tackled by Dat Wynn, 1 yard shy of the first down.
Yeah, and that's the thing that Deuce Staley's been able to provide for Donovan McNabb, is a guy who he knows where he's going to be on those checkdowns.
And they know how to score in the last 2 minutes of a half. Here's Chad Lewis, who caught the touchdown pass for the Eagles earlier, and this will be a first down with an 8-yard reception. And the Eagles will use up a timeout. So the Philadelphia Eagles, who have won 6 straight road games going back to last year and trying to retain their lead in the NFC East. They've been up there for 4 weeks, and that's the first time go back to 1981. Half-game lead over the Giants, who have a road game at Minnesota tomorrow night.
Well, I think the big thing was finally being able to beat the New York Giants and get that monkey off their back. And I really felt going into this season, if Philadelphia was going to elevate their game and become one of the premier teams in the NFC, they had to be able to beat the Giants. They got that done earlier this year. And when you talk to the Eagles and their coaching staff, they're very proud of what the position they're in right there. And that's the mark of a champion. 122-1 on the road from 97 to 99 and 9-2 over the last 2 years.
And leading here, 1st and 10 at the 37. Eagles with 2 timeouts left. Bouncing off his own teammate is McNabb, who throws a tough pass, and it is incomplete. And wrestling for the ball, Freddie Mitchell, was Darren Woodson.
Freddie Mitchell thinks he caught it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He said, I have it. What are you talking about? But they ruled it incomplete with 1:21 on the clock.
Yeah, and it'll be up to the booth if they're going to review this. The coaches cannot challenge it inside 2 minutes before a half.
And it would have to happen.
Yeah. From that angle there, it looks like he may have caught it. It doesn't look like the booth is going to review the play, though.
If you're a receiver, you know if you catch the pass.
Well,
right?
he thought he caught it.
Well, they're not going to review it. They snapped the ball, and here is James Thrash with the catch at midfield. A fine catch by James Thrash for a 13-yard pickup and a first down.
And that's good for Donovan McNabb right there, because one of the things that people see when they scout this team is they don't throw the ball outside a lot. It's a lot of times in between the numbers. Donovan McNabb from the opposite hash all the way across to James Thrash, and maybe this is one they'll take a look at.
I think they should.
I tell you what, that's a great job by James Thrash. That's a catch.
It is a catch.
He had his arms underneath the ball, and they will not be reviewing that play either.
1:14 to go. And the Eagles using up their second timeout. They have the ball at midfield, trying to add to their 10-0 lead. Take a look at how the Eagles offensive people have done. McNabb with a touchdown pass to Chad Lewis and an interception at the goal line by Woodson. 1:14 on the clock. 1 timeout left for the Eagles. McNabb. He's going deep down the middle of the field, and the pass in the hands of Freddie Mitchell and out. Mitchell had beaten the defenders and appeared to make the catch at around the 5-yard line. Covered by Darren Woodson, among others.
Well, that's one of the areas of the field that you want to attack against this Cowboy defense. Donovan McNabb knows it. They get the rolled coverage, which opens up the middle. He's working one-on-one on Dad Wynn, who has been beaten in this situation in previous games, not getting any safety help, and almost a great catch by Freddie Mitchell.
And I don't understand why this Cowboy defense continues to put Dad Wynn in a situation where he's forced to cover a wide receiver man-to-man 30 yards down the field.
2nd and 10 in midfield, and here's McNabb taking off, and he gets Staley. The pass is caught and out of bounds to stop the clock with 58 seconds to go. The ball is at the 42-yard line of the Cowboys. An 8-yard pickup.
There's some of that uncanny feel that you mentioned earlier, the fact that Donovan McNabb and Deuce Staley just seem to know where each other are in situations when a play breaks down, and he's all the way out here on the sideline, not real easy to find, but Donovan knows just where to go with the football.
Yeah, and it was interesting when we talked about Deuce Staley playing last week and what that meant to the offense, and the first thing that Andy Reid told us was that it really helps Donovan McNabb in the passing game because he knows where he'll be, and where do you think he'd be talking about him as a runner and what he does for the running game.
Eagles looking for their first 3rd down conversion. They give the ball to Deuce Staley. They get it and more. And Staley inside the 30-yard line. Teague on the tackle and a 13-yard gain. A 1st down for the Philadelphia Eagles.
Although there's nothing wrong with the running right there of Deuce Staley.
Yeah.
And they stop the clock. So Deuce Staley, off a big game last week against the Vikings, has gained 56 yards now on 10 carries.
And it's, you know, kind of surprising, a big physical runner like he is, but yet when you talk to the Dallas defenders, they were impressed by his patience as a runner. And you'll see right here at the end, as Hank Fraley comes out, look how he sets up that block right there and allows him to come across and kick him out and gets back underneath. And, you know, I tell you what, he's got all the tools. He's got some breakaway speed. He's a big physical runner, but he's also got some nifty little feet.
2nd and 10 on the Cowboy 28. Trying to get 6 or at least into better field goal range, and this pass knocked away. Pinkston actually doing the defensive job on Mario Edwards, the cornerback, covering on the play.
Yeah, and they had a pretty good coverage of what they wanted. The Cowboys were in man-to-man clear across the board. It looked like what they were trying to do, the Philadelphia Eagles were trying to run a fade stop on the outside against Mario Edwards, and not a real well thrown ball, and Pinkston was unable to go and make a play. You could see Todd Pinkston thought that there was pass interference on the play.
10th play of the drive. 3rd and 10. And McNabb getting time, going into the end zone to Thrash, and incomplete. He was out of the end zone. A terrific throw. Thrash was at the back of the end zone, covered by Pat Dennis and George Teague, and that will bring up 4th down, and Akers will come on to try a field goal.
Well, you don't want to see 2 guys back there in coverage, and if he's got about 4 more yards, that's going to be a touchdown for the Philadelphia Eagles. And George Teague and Pat Dennis, they got to do a better job in a situation where they're 2-to-1 in man coverage in a situation like that at the end of the half.
Couldn't get both feet down, so a 46-yard field goal attempt coming up. Akers 1 for 1 today. And Akers kick, and that kick is good, and the Eagles open up a 13-0 lead on the 46-yarder by Akers. And Dave Campbell a bit disturbed right now, and there is Andy Reid, whose team is up to a 13-0 lead. Second half of our NFL Fox doubleheader. The Bears trying to rebound from their loss last week to the Packers, go against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, trying to get over the 500 mark.
And don't we have a victory guaranteed by Keyshawn Johnson in that football game later this afternoon by the Tampa Bay Bucks, I think?
Does that every other week.
Well, and you wonder how the Bears are going to respond now. You know, they jumped out of the gates. They go 6-1. They had some miraculous wins there. And then last week they lose to Green Bay. And now many of their games here in the second half are going to be against divisional opponents. And it'll be curious to see if this really is a team that is for real. And it will definitely be proven over the next 7-8 ball games.
Hey, do you think in a Tampa Bay-Chicago game you get a ball thrown 20 yards down the field? At some point?
That will be the bet.
What's the over and under on that?
Well, the Bears tied for first with the Packers having their hands full with the Atlanta Falcons, who lead them 16-10 with time running out in the first half in Green Bay. David Akers on the kickoff, and Reggie Swinton from the 3-yard line on the return. Swinton trying to break one, gets tripped up by Akers. It was David Akers who tripped up Swinton. Otherwise, it appeared he may have gone all the way.
And he's just been outstanding on kickoff returns this season. And he's also one of those guys that Dave Campo mentioned when you're evaluating players this year on what you think of the different guys. He's a guy who stands out, and Dave Campo feels like he's a guy who will be here for the long term. And Akers, you know, guys, these kickers aren't much known for tacklers, but Akers saves him a touchdown right there.
Well, I tell you what, he breaks down, gets in a nice hitting position, doesn't take the first move. 2 tackles today for David Akers. And great to have a kicker with his ability, but also the athletic ability to make a play like that.
Did you really think that was a good hitting position?
I thought it was great for a kicker. I thought it was great for a kicker.
Everything always ends with for a kicker. 1st and 10, and Ryan Leaf in what maybe the last play of this half, and going deep downfield, and the ball knocked away. Darren Chiaverini was the intended receiver. Rocket Ismail is in the same area code, and Bobby Taylor was defending on the play.
Well, that's
two's a crowd.
You don't normally see 2 receivers in the same position like that, but heck, if there's one ball, maybe 2 down there have a better chance to catch it.
7 seconds to go. Well, the Cowboys had their chances. Their new kicker, John Hilbert, had a field goal blocked in the first quarter. Then a bag snap cost them another chance for a 3-pointer. And then Donovan McNabb hit Chad Lewis, and then Akers kicked the field goals. And he kicked 2 of them, actually, and it's 13-0. As Ryan Leaf's pass is intercepted. And Jeremiah Trotter will run it in for the touchdown for the Eagles as time runs out in the first half. Talk about a crushing play. And the Philadelphia Eagles with Jeremiah Trotter returning the touchdown. Is there any worse way to end the first half, and a great way for the Eagles, who now can take a 20-0 lead?
Dick, I don't understand the call here at all. They're trying to throw it to the outside. For what reason, I'm not sure. There's no way they're going to be able to do anything, even if they complete it. They have no chance for a field goal attempt. Time's going to run out. You make an ill-advised throw there, a poor play call, interception by Jeremiah Trotter, and they get 7 points. It was unnecessary.
50-yard return for a touchdown. As Leaf trying to go to Chiaverini on the outside, Akers with the extra point, and the Philadelphia Eagles are almost halfway to doing another number on the Dallas Cowboys, similar to what they did earlier in the year. That's the end of the first half. It's the Eagles 20, the Cowboys nothing. Fox NFL Sunday will continue after these messages and a word from your local Fox station. Must be some prize for that winner there. 2nd and 5 for the Eagles, and again they go to Deuce Staley, and Staley driving towards the first down and has it. So the Eagles with a 20-0 lead, and that's what the good teams do in the second half. They pound it away, and they protect the ball, and they use up the clock.
Well, and Andy Reid, as Pam Oliver mentioned, coming out for the second half, was worried about how his team would respond, and he needed them to match the emotion. He knows that Dallas will play 60 minutes, regardless of what the score is. That was one of the things that he was most impressed by watching him on film. And he does not want this football team to get a chance to get back into it. So I think he has to be very happy. They had the long kickoff return to set up the good field position, and now they're moving in for what would be a touchdown to put them up 27.
1st and goal at the 8, and here is Donovan McNabb firing into the end zone, and it's incomplete off the leg of Darren Woodson, intended for Chad Lewis.
Well, and Donovan McNabb was lucky that that ball wasn't intercepted. They tried running the slant go again on the outside. They didn't have it. And then he came back to Chad Lewis, your tight end. Darren Woodson covering him, and a poorly thrown ball. If Woodson sees that ball, he intercepts it. He was playing Chad Lewis and wasn't looking for the football, but that is an area where Donovan really needs to get better at. They like to throw the ball down here in the red zone. He's very effective at moving around, but the one area that I see as a weakness of his game is his accuracy.
That bounced off of Woodson's shoulder. Second and goal, Deuce Staley, this time cutting and getting to the 5-yard line where Brandon Noble is there. Correll Buckhalter, who came into the game as the leading rusher for the Philadelphia Eagles and had a breakout game, including his first career touchdown earlier in the year when the Eagles thumped the Cowboys, left home, suspended along with 2 other rookies for an incident in Philadelphia on Friday night.
Well, I think the guy to watch down here in this situation is James Thrash. He's really come on big, and he's done a nice job. He's down here at the bottom of your screen and catching touchdowns in the red zone.
Third and goal at the 5, and here is McNabb trying to run it in, and he'll be dragged down. A turkey leg play made by Darren Woodson. Back to the 8-yard line, a loss of 3 yards, and 4th down coming in for the Eagles.
Boy, I tell you, when that play started, it looked like Donovan McNabb was just going to walk right into the end zone. Dallas does a good job of rallying to the football. I want you to watch the right side of your screen. You see that gap right there. Lynn Scott is the first one that forces him parallel to the line, and then all the other guys come in with Darren Woodson finally getting him to the ground.
So here is Akers looking for his 3rd successful field goal of the day. This will be a 26-yard attempt. And the kick is good. So the Eagles now lead 23-0, pecking away 3 field goals by Akers, McNabb's touchdown pass, and Trotter's interception TD.
NFL's consent is prohibited.
George Teague shaken up on that last play as the Eagles in front of the Cowboys 23-0 after defeating them 40-18 in the 3rd game of the year. Akers with the kickoff, and Reggie Swinton, who can break one, but not that time. He gets broken himself on a terrific play by Tim Hawk, the veteran special teamers. Boy, he's been doing that for years.
Well, they're trying to set up a return and come out the backside, but Michael Wiley's got to be aware of that safety. He tried to sell that fake going left too long, took himself out of position to get back and get the block on Tim Hawk. You can see him right there as he goes flying by.
Yeah, and Tim Hawk, he was a guy who was really productive as a safety a few years back. It was a good player, and now he's making his mark on this football team as a special teams player, 2nd leading tackler on special teams for the Philadelphia Eagles.
And now we have an injury, and it's Jamie Reeder, who is the backup fullback for Cecil Martin. Martin suffered a hamstring pull earlier in the game, and Reeder came in. Now he is on the field, so we will have a timeout. We'll be back. Jamie Reeder being taken off for the Eagles. Cecil Martin is all right despite that earlier hamstring pull. He is the starting fullback, and George Teague taken in with an injured left eye. Look at the difference. Not much, really. It's been a domination of the 2nd quarter for the Eagles against the Cowboys. They've outscored them 46-0 in this year's season series. In the 2nd quarter alone, they have forced 6 Dallas turnovers. So the 2nd quarter is one that the Cowboys would like to forget, and the Eagles have lived on, at least in this year's series. 1st and 10 at the 24. Ryan Leaf, who was 5 of 15 passing.
False start.
False start.
Offense. Number 76. 5-yard penalty.
Flozell Adams, the left tackle.
Well, you take a look at Cos with that move, and you got Troy Vincent up here at corner. He's going to act like he's coming in on a corner blitz, and as he starts to come in, Ryan Leaf sees him. He alters his count, which causes some confusion there. You see left tackle Flozell Adams, who jumps prematurely, but that's the things that Philadelphia defense wants to do in order to disrupt the timing of an offense.
Yeah, the Cowboys offense have not picked up a 1st down in their last 5 drives. They need 15 yards here. It's 1st down, and Emmitt Smith getting a yard on the play. Emmitt Smith, gaining 52 yards on 12 carries in the 1st half, was rolling for a while, and then he fumbled, and that kind of set the tone for what the Eagles did the rest of that second quarter.
Well, I think that the game opened up with Dallas doing exactly what they wanted to do and needed to do to get into this football game. But on top of the fumble by Emmett was also the missed field goals. I mean, they're moving the ball effectively, but they're getting nothing for the returns.
Second down and 14. Ryan Leaf with the deep drop, and out of the backfield is Emmitt Smith, and he is put down quickly by Carlos Emmons. 4-yard pickup.
Well, Hugh Douglas is a guy who's gotten on a bit of a roll, and he knows that sacks come in bunches, and Flozell Adams has done a really nice job on him this afternoon. We haven't really called Hugh's number at all, and he's using everything he can out there to keep Hugh off the quarterback.
Third down and 11. Eagles looking to stretch their record to 6-3. And Ryan Leaf's pass caught, and it's close to the first down to Rocket Ismail. And he may have the necessary yardage with Mike Caldwell, the linebacker, on the coverage. It is a first down.
Well, you've got to be so precise when you get in third and long situations, particularly when you're playing a team like this who covers very well and they rarely get out of position. Rocket Ismail is able to find the hole in the seam and Ryan makes a very good throw there, and they're able to get the first down, and they're going to have to sustain something here and get points on this drive real soon if they're going to have a chance to get back in this ball game.
That's the first down in the last 6 drives for the Cowboys, and there is the ball thrown away, and no flag thrown as Hugh Douglas all over Ryan Leaf. And right now, let's check in with James Brown with a game break. JB.
Hey, Dick, Chris Chandler had been playing extremely good football up to this point here, trying to expand the lead over Green Bay. On the bootleg, shouldn't have thrown it there. At least 2 men in the vicinity. Picked off by Nate Wayne. Still a 16-10 lead over Green Bay. Dick, Troy, and Darryl.
Well, they had a shouldn't have thrown one there, just like we did.
It happens. It happens. I can tell you, Dick. I've been there, and you don't see a lot of people sometimes out there on the field.
Roy Butler got hurt. Broken left shoulder blade. That is going to be catastrophic for the Packers. Ryan Leaf's pass, and it's a catch. First down to Rocket Ismail. Ismail has been the workhorse. And Joey Galloway, who caught one pass last week for the Cowboys, has caught only one here.
Now they're saying he didn't have the catch.
The initial signal was that it was a completed pass, but now they're bringing it back.
Well, Ryan Leaf gets outside the pocket trying to make something happen with Rocket Ismail. We'll see if he can get his hands underneath this football.
No.
Nope, it does hit the turf.
Yeah, you can see the ball hit the ground there, incomplete pass, and another poor throw, and you just wonder how much that wrist really is affecting Ryan Leaf when he throws the football. You see the previous pass, he throws an absolute bullet in there to Rocket Ismail. Then that pass right there, he comes out and the ball flutters on him, and we've seen that kind of inconsistency throughout the ball game today.
Third down and 10 at the 35, and the whistle blows before the play. Well, if that's the case, Troy, and Leaf struggling, you know, they've got a winning quarterback on the sideline in Clint Sterner.
Prior to the snap, false start, offense, number 81.
And I say winning because
penalty remains
he was the
down.
quarterback of record when the Cowboys won.
Well, he was, and I think that Clint, I don't know that we're going to be seeing much of Clint Sterner the rest of this season. The two guys clearly that they're evaluating are Ryan Leaf and Quincy Carter, and it's going to be one of those two guys if they're going to keep one of them to be their future quarterback, and who knows what may happen in the draft if they're able to go after somebody.
I mean, if you're a pitcher and you got 2 wins, third down and 15, and Ryan Leaf trying to get out of trouble and won't. Down he goes, and Troy Vincent and Corey Simon. It was Simon first and then Vincent, and a loss of 9, bringing up a 4th down punt.
Well, Ryan Leaf in 30 attempts over his previous 2 ball games have been sacked 5 times, so he's a guy who he does not get rid of the football on time, and he has a tendency to hang on to the football. You see right there, and you've got to know going in against these guys, you're not going to have that kind of time. You've got to get the ball out. That was something these coaches stressed coming into the game, and yet Ryan, time after time, has held on to the football and not gotten it out.
4th down and Micah Noor. And here is Brian Mitchell. Mitchell just dives into Cowboy territory. Well, the Philadelphia Eagles have been playing Cowboys territory throughout the entire game. the sack, the punt. They're at the 50.
Southwest Airlines, proud sponsor of the NFL and official airline of Super Bowl 36. By DirecTV, the #1 satellite entertainment provider. By Original Coors, nothing beats an original. And by the Intel Pentium 4 processor, the center of your digital world.
And welcome back to Texas Stadium in Irving, Texas. The Eagles leading the Cowboys 23-0, and the Eagles at midfield. 7 minutes remaining in the third quarter. McNabb handing off to Deuce Staley, who will lose about 3. Then Darren Woodson. Boy, we've mentioned his name countless times today and playing as if the score were 0-0.
Well, he's the elder statesman of this defensive group, and he's going to set the tone. And the other guy in there with him was Lynn Scott, and he's one of these young guys that everybody's been real excited about just because of the reckless way he plays the game. And if he continues to follow Darren Woodson and how he prepares and what he does to get himself ready, he could have himself a nice career also.
Second and 13. Here's McNabb completing to James Thrash. And Thrash tackled at the 48 will bring up 3rd down and about 9 for the Eagles, with Gatwin and Marcus Steele making the tackle. McNabb with 1 touchdown pass and 1 interception. Deuce Staley with 69 yards and 16 carries, and also the Eagles' leading receiver.
Well, you can see by that graphic there with Donovan McNabb and 10 of 24 for only 68 yards. Even on completions, he's not even getting 7 yards of completion. And as we talked about, that's something the coaches want to see him do, is get the ball more down the field.
3rd down and 9. Going to have a chance to do that right here as he completes to Freddie Mitchell. And the rookie top round pick from UCLA with a first catch and a first down for the Eagles.
Yeah, and Freddie Mitchell, their #1 receiver or #1 draft pick out of UCLA this year. And that was an area coming into the season that they really felt like they needed to upgrade, was the wide receiver position. They drafted Freddie Mitchell. He's a guy with tremendous speed and quickness. He just started making his mark for this football team here over the last 2 to 3 weeks. And we asked Andy Reid why he was not playing earlier, and Andy said, I wanted to make him earn his job, and he's certainly been able to do that here over the last 3 weeks.
That was his 10th catch of the season from the 39-yard line. Deuce Staley lunging forward for about 4 yards as we check in with another game break with James Brown. What do you have, James?
Hey, Dick, we know Jeff Garcia's favorite target has been Terrell Owens, but in this game, it's been J.J. Stokes. He came in with just 1 touchdown reception. He's got 3 now. There's a second of the day, 9-yard strike. It is now a 1-point lead by San Fran. Back to Dick, Troy, and Darryl.
Tight game with the 49ers trying to keep pace, only a game behind the Rams.
I think everybody would be surprised that San Francisco is having the year that they're having, especially the cap problems that they've had.
That's one of the great stories of the season. Deuce Staley, and it's that win penetrating, and no gain on the play. It'll be 3rd down. In the second half of our Fox doubleheader, the Chicago Bears against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Really a critical game for both teams.
I mean, Tampa Bay, historically has started out slow, but, you can't continue to do that and have the success that everybody expects them to have. And it'll be interesting to see what Chicago does. They haven't been on the road in a long time. They've had a lot of road games the first half of the season. We'll see if this Chicago Bears team is for real this afternoon.
And our viewers in Dallas will see that game on Fox. 3rd and 6. And McNabb up the middle. First down and to the 20-yard line. The elusive Donovan McNabb. When no one's there, he's got that extra element, and a 14-yard pickup for him.
Yeah, and that's where he is really, really dangerous. Dwayne Missouri down here at the bottom. He loops underneath and gets up inside, which forces Donovan McNabb to get north and south, and that's the thing that he does so well. You don't see him a lot of times, running side to side. He gets going north and south and has the ability to make people miss, and it's a real weapon for a quarterback when you have the mobility like Donovan has.
From the 21, first down Eagles, leading 23-0, and looking for more. Here's Thrash in the end zone, and it's knocked away by Duan Hawthorne, and a flag is down back at the line of scrimmage.
Well, they have definitely seen something on film because they're doing a lot of double moves in the red zone this afternoon.
And a personal foul will be called against the Cowboys.
Personal foul, unnecessary roughness. Defense, number 98, head slap, half the distance to the goal, automatic, first down.
That's Greg Ellis. Tough day so far for Dave Campo with 2:51 to go in the third.
Well, you know things are going bad for your football team when a guy like Greg Ellis gets a call on a head slap. He's one of the guys that doesn't have that in his game, and he's going to be up here at the top of your screen. And you know, I'm still, well, yeah, there it goes right there. It's not even really a head slap, but more of a punch, and that's not Greg Ellis. That just shows you the frustration that this football team is facing right now.
The Eagles have been penalized only twice today for 10 yards. First and 10 at the 11 following the personal foul. Half the distance, and here is Deuce Staley. And getting him first is John Nix for a gain of 2.
You know, and the surprising thing about it is the Cowboys enter in this ball game. You can talk about a lot of the different areas where they've struggled, but the one thing that they've done a really nice job of all season long is being one of the least penalized football teams. And so the fact that they come into this game against a team that on paper they're outmatched and had not played well in the previous game, you wouldn't expect them to come out and have some of the penalties that they've had in this game that have certainly hurt them.
Tied with the Bears for the least penalized team in the league. Today's been a different story. Second down and 8 from the 9. Pressure on McNabb, and he bounces one to Staley, incomplete, and another penalty is down. And we'll have an intentional grounding call against McNabb.
Intentional grounding, offense, number 5, the ball was thrown directly into the ground, loss of down, third down.
Well, they put a rule in 2 years ago that even on screen passes, when you drop back and you're going to see number 22 Deuce Staley come over here, that on a screen pass used to you could throw it at the running back's feet if he wasn't open. And they changed the rule, and it said that the quarterback had to make an effort to get the ball into the running back's hands. Clearly that was not a legitimate effort, and it puts a quarterback in a real tough position because whenever it's not open, there are a lot of bodies surrounding that running back, and you don't have anywhere to throw the ball really to make it a legitimate attempt. And I can tell you, as a quarterback, it was a rule that I never understood as to why they put it in, and I know offensive coaches have been trying to take it out ever since.
May not have to worry about it anymore. Here is Donovan McNabb, and he gets the pass off to Brian Mitchell, trying to lunge forward to get to the original line of scrimmage, and Izell Reese is there. So fourth down coming up, and David Akers, who is 3 for 3 today in field goals, will try to make it 4. Well, 2 tackles and 3 field goals. Not a bad day's work for Akers.
You know, pre-game, I had a chance to talk to David Akers. There's a different sound when he makes contact with the football. He made a 65-yarder in pre-game, and I asked him. He said not in game conditions, but he has made them from 70 yards in the past.
Well, this is from 28 yards, and David Akers is perfect. And the Eagles now lead the Cowboys 26-0 in the latter stages of the third. Back here at Texas Stadium with 1:23 remaining in the third quarter, an 11-play scoring drive, and it was Donovan McNabb's 14-yard run for the first down. David Akers with his 4th field goal, and it is a 26-0 game. Reggie Swinton returning from the 5-yard line, and Swinton, still on his feet, is down. Well, here we are back in Texas Stadium, and I have a couple of buddies with me now. Boy, when you're heroes, you get this done. Troy, tell me about how impressive McNabb has been today. Has he grown up as a quarterback?
Well, he's doing a nice job, Dick, and let me say that I've always enjoyed working with you through the booth, and you look swell tonight.
And Moose, you got to admire the Eagles defense today.
Oh, I think seeing him in person, I'm much more impressed than I was on film, and I know that you were very impressed yesterday. Dick, that is a lovely tie. Where did you get that tie?
Notice how Moose, much bigger than Troy here. Troy is a redhead, but not in real life, and I'll be looking for a new career tomorrow morning. Thank you.
Notice how my doll looks more like you, Dick?
That's true.
Why is that?
Well, here we are. I'm going to award you guys. I'm sure that there's a place in your trophy case for these bobblehead dolls. There's an injured Eagle, a Cowboy on the field. It's Lewis Mackey, who was just activated from the practice squad. .112 remaining in the third quarter, and the Eagles, who are looking for their 7th straight road victory, and of course Mackey shaken up, and the Cowboys basically shaken up. They've had their share of injuries more so.
Oh, they really haven't. People will talk about the poor drafts and the lack of salary cap money, but when you look here, 92 and 93, only 9 games missed by the 22 opening day starters both those years. Last year, 70 games missed by the starters on opening day, and up until this point right now we're at 22. So injuries have played a huge part in the rough years for the Dallas Cowboys the last couple of seasons.
And it becomes an even bigger deal when you're dealing with a young football team that doesn't have a lot of talent. So when you lose some key players, then you're playing a lot of young guys as opposed to some more veteran teams.
First down on the 29. Ryan Leaf handing off to Emmitt Smith, and he's driven back. No gain on the play. Corey Simon on the play. Emmitt Smith returning to action this week as a starter. Had been out 2 games with a sprained knee.
It was great to see him have the kind of start that he did, because down here in Dallas there has been a lot of talk about the situation with Troy Hambrick having such a good year and his Emmitt on the downside of his career, and great to see him come out and respond the way he did the opening quarter of this football game.
Second down and 10 at the 29. The Cowboys trailing 26-0. And the pass by Ryan Leaf, and it's caught by Rocket Ismail. Ismail having a terrific game. I'll tell you, with Ismail on offense and Darren Woodson defensively.
Well, I don't think there's any question. And you talk to people within the Cowboy organization and what Rocket Ismail has meant to this football team. He's a guy who does everything that he's asked of, works exceptionally hard, wants to please everybody, runs every route as best he can, and has just been a real great acquisition for this football team over the last couple of seasons.
4 catches for 50 yards on his birthday, which is disappointing because his team is losing by 26. And that is the end of the third quarter. With the score, the Cowboys trail the Eagles 26-0. Fox NFL Sunday will continue after a word from your local Fox station. It's been a long day for Ryan Leaf and the Dallas Cowboys, who trail the Eagles 26-0. Dallas with a 3rd down and 2 as we start the fourth quarter on the 37-yard line. Big pitch to Wiley, and pass caught for the first down by the tight end Mike Lucky. Well, you want to talk about a courageous man and a strong man. Just take a look at Tommy Brazier, the defensive line coach of the Philadelphia Eagles. On Tuesday, underwent a 6-hour operation for the removal of lymph nodes around the neck area. He came to practice on Thursday and made this trip.
Well, I can tell you what, that says a lot about him, and there's a lot of football players that have less illnesses that don't make trips, and that's something else for him to be here in Dallas coaching this football team.
Pitch to Emmitt Thomas. Emmitt Smith, that is, and Emmitt Smith down the sideline and a first down. He had a good block that time from Johnny Huggins, and a gain of 27 yards for Emmitt Smith.
And all the big runs this afternoon have been out to that left side, and that's where Larry Allen and Flozell Adams are. And as you pointed out, Dick, Johnny Huggins, the fullback, gets a nice block right there on Damon Moore. And downfield, Rocket Ismail also working, and that's what you have to have in the running game. Everybody has to be on their guy and give a guy like Emmitt Smith the opportunity to find those lanes.
I think when you talk about Rocket, as we were a little bit earlier, you know, that's where he's a very unselfish football player, and that he is willing to get in there and get on blocks in the running game.
Here is Joey Galloway with his 2nd catch of the game, and that should be a first down for the Cowboys. And one of the players that Dave Campo said he wanted to step up was Joey Galloway. That's his 2nd catch.
Yeah, and that's exactly what Dave Campo told us, is he'd like to see Joey step up in this game and in future games. And, you know, in his defense and Joey Galloway's defense, he's been working with a lot of different people and a lot of different quarterbacks, and it is very difficult to establish any kind of timing when you're working with a lot of different guys, and that has affected him. There are areas of his game that he needs to improve on, one being able to come back and make the tough catch, but it's very frustrating for him as well because he's been working with so many different guys.
From the 16-yard line, first down, and Ryan Leaf goes down. And it was Derek Burgess, the rookie from Ole Miss, picked on the 3rd round, and that is the 3rd sack today by the Eagles defense.
And he has been relentless in his pass rush this afternoon, and going up against Solomon Page, who's played well against guys like Michael Strahan, but this afternoon, Derek Burgess, you see right there, the burst to the quarterback.
There's no question, and Ryan has to know that he's got to get rid of the football, and again, that's something that he's not been able to do. He had open field in front of him. He had room to run, and when your clock starts to run out, you got to know you got to do something with that football.
He has been under siege today, and in the unfortunate interception return for a touchdown. Pass is caught by Rocket Ismail at the 12-yard line. Burgess, by the way, did get a chance to start earlier this year against the Cowboys because Brandon Whiting had an equipment problem, so he was listed as a starter there. Playing today because Whiting is out with a hamstring pull.
Well, and Derek Burgess, early on in the season, he was really struggling with learning this system and the scheme that the Philadelphia Eagles run, and he has not gotten a lot of opportunities. He had the one chance you mentioned against Dallas in the first game, but he has steadily improved. Look very much to the opportunity of playing against his good offensive line against the Dallas Cowboys today, and he's making the most of his chances.
Hambrick going in motion to the left on 3rd down and 6, and the pass up the middle and knocked down and nearly picked off by Ike Reese.
And this is an area that a lot of people like to attack against Dallas, right through these A-gaps. And you see Ike Reese and Jeremiah Trotter there. Larry Allen's trying to squeeze down. Flozell's trying to come down. And when you do that, what that does, that allows that end man to come free because you've got to protect your inside. And that's why Hugh Douglas was able to put that big hit on Ryan Leaf.
Well, the crowd not happy with the decision to go for the field goal, but you got to get 3 before you get anything. And so here is John Hilbert, who has missed 2 field goal attempts. One was blocked. The other was a bad snap. This will be a 30-yard attempt, and Emmitt Smith on the sideline, and he's hurting. Here is the field goal attempt by John Hilbert, and the kick is good. And the Dallas Cowboys prevent the shutout. It's now 26-3, but it has not been a picnic for Ryan Leaf.
Brought to you by Chevy Trucks, the most dependable, longest-lasting trucks on the road. By Norelco, for an unexpectedly close shave guaranteed. Put it to the test. By Madden NFL 2002. EA Sports, it's in the game. And by Dr. Pepper and your local Dr. Pepper bottler. Be you, nothing's better. Dr. Pepper.
Back here at Texas Stadium, where John Hilbert successful on a 30-yard field goal, and the Eagles lead now 26-3. Micah Noor will kick off for the Cowboys. And it's an onside kick. Got to go 10 yards.
Didn't get 10 yards, Dick.
Flag down and has to go 10 yards. See Jerry Jones in the corner of our picture on the sideline. Been a long day for that man too.
I think it's been a long year for that
short free kick
man.
out of bounds. Kicking team. 5-yard penalty. Re-kick.
So that was always one of my favorite things on special teams, when you had to do the onside kick, and they do it, and the guys come down and absolutely blow you up, and then they get to do it again because it didn't go 10 yards. And Joe Avizano right there trying to sneak one in on the Philadelphia Eagles, and unfortunately, as some other things have happened during the course of this afternoon, his players were unable to execute his plan.
Carolina moving ahead of San Francisco, you saw on the Fox Botch, and they missed a 2-point conversion, so they will kick again. Last week was probably the worst nightmare that Avizano and the Cowboys special teams have had in quite some time. But a new long snapper, new place kicker because of the injury to Tim Cedar. Micah Noor with his kickoff, this time going deep to Brian Mitchell at the 4. In traffic and pushed back, and the whistle blows. Randall Williams right there. Eagles 26, the Cowboys 3. Well, the Eagles have been exceptional on the road this season. We'll be back. 48 remaining in the fourth quarter. Earlier we showed you Emmitt Smith being helped off, but he is all right. There is Emmitt as the Eagles come out on the 22, first down. Emmitt Smith returning to action with 80 yards and 15 carries. That's pretty good day's work. Here's the handoff to Deuce Staley. Staley up the middle, gets dragged down at the 31 by George Teague. Time for a game break with James Brown. JB.
Did Carolina trying desperately to snap an 8-game losing streak? Take a look here. Wesley Walsh has been split out wide right down the middle, though, from Winky. 5th touchdown reception. It is now 19-14. Carolina on top. 12 minutes left in regulation. Back to Dick, Troy, and Darryl.
Hey, one thing about it, San Francisco has been in those types of games already, so this is not new territory for them as far as having to come back late in the 4th quarter.
No, they have known how to win the close ones and the tight ones, and they've got another one today. First down for the Eagles. Donovan McNabb going up top for Thrash, and it's knocked down, and it was Pat Dennis, the former Kansas City Chief, doing a good job staying with Thrash.
And he did do a nice job, Dick. You'll see as he releases, he's going to run with him, and he'll have a sense when that ball is coming in. Watch him turn his head and be able to make a play on the football. That's a nice job by Pat Dennis. A lot of guys don't get that head turned back, and by doing that, they don't get the opportunity to make a play on the football.
2nd down and 10 for the Eagles on the 33. Eagles headed for their 4th straight win over the Cowboys. And here is Deuce Staley trying to go somewhere, and not much there. You know, it's interesting how teams have problems in sustaining successes. We're looking at Green Bay struggling with Atlanta today. But the one team, the Eagles, who have won 2 in a row, coming into a situation where it could be a trap game, and they have answered that pretty emphatically.
Yeah, they've been able to answer it, and it's like you said, I think, you know, last week they really got emotionally up for their ball game against Minnesota, and sometimes you go into a game and you just know that you're the better football team, and it's hard emotionally to get up for it, but you got to go out and execute, and that's something that they've been able to do.
3rd down and 9 on the 34 of Philadelphia, and here is McNabb getting time. Always a threat to run, but he's going to throw it to an open Pinkston, and Todd Pinkston with the catch and stayed in bounds at the 42, a gain of 23 to Pinkston.
And to me, that's one of the biggest problems that Donovan poses to a defense. You're going to watch his play develop. Everybody will get out in their routes, and then as Donovan breaks contain and starts to scramble, watch the defenders over here on the screen start to move up, and here comes Todd Pinkston right across to catch that ball. You've always got to know where your man is. If you move up to make a play on Donovan McNabb, he's smart enough to dump that ball over your head for a big play downfield.
Eagles on the Cowboy 42. Brian Mitchell is the running back. He gets the call, and Mitchell tripped up, and it was Michael Myers on the pursuit, making the play, losing a pair.
Michael Myers was one of the guys that Andy Reid mentioned getting ready for this football game. He really has done a good job. We haven't heard his name called a whole lot today, but he definitely has gotten the penetration, and he's one of these guys that's taken advantage of kind of the reshuffling of this Dallas Cowboys football team, playing behind Leon Lett and Chad Hennings for several years, and now finally getting his chance to be a starter.
2nd down and 12. McNabb completes to the tight end Chad Lewis, and about 3 yards shy of the 1st down. Dan Wynn on the coverage.
Well, I think what you're seeing is Andy Reid and Rod Dowhower, the offensive coordinator for the Philadelphia Eagles, you know, even in this situation in the ball game with a little under 9 minutes to play, with a 26-3 lead, and yet they're still willing to throw the football, and I think they want to continually give Donovan McNabb opportunities to get experience seeing the various things and continue to work within this offense. A lot of people fail to remember that he still has not started that many football games in the National Football League.
That's a good point. And they made the playoffs last year, trying to win the division this time, and a 1st down run by Deuce Staley with Myers on the tackle. It was interesting in the total yardage story that the Eagles, the Cowboys, only 5 yards behind the Eagles in the game.
Well,
yeah.
Unfortunately, just like the last time these two teams played, Philadelphia has not had to drive the ball very far to get their points, to get to the 26.
I think if you look at Deuce Staley and what he did last week, and We talked about him finally getting an opportunity to carry the load for the football team. You wonder how he was going to be able to respond today with the soreness to the shoulder and his health, and it appears that he's doing just fine right now.
Well, since the first quarter, the Eagles have come alive in a big way. The pass out to Freddie Mitchell, and that's caught. Still about 5.5, 6 yards short of the first down.
You know, you talk about, really what makes this whole thing work for them offensively, and it's the guys up front. They've got an outstanding group of players up front. John Runyon, the right tackle, and probably one of the guys who people don't talk about too much is Hank Fraley, who's the center, and he came in for Bubba Miller after the injury to Bubba back in training camp, and he's done a really nice job. Andy Reid said you wouldn't recognize him as a football player if you saw him, but he certainly is a competitive guy and has done a real nice job filling in and keeping the solid area of this offensive line going.
Staley up the middle, right at Fraley, and a couple of yards. Darren Woodson coming up to make the tackle with under 7 minutes to go in the fourth quarter.
One of the impressive things about this offensive line is this is a situation where the defense knows that you're just going to line up and pound the football to try and take the time off the clock, and yet these guys have been able to do that on this drive right here. And even in their pass protection during the course of the game, we've seen Donovan McNabb standing back in the pocket with time to go to his second, third, and fourth receivers in his progression, and they've done a very good job, and it's going to be very important for this football team for them to continue to play this way down the stretch.
Eagles are 5 for 6 this half on third down conversions. They need 3 yards, and Deuce Staley trying to give it to him, and he does. And the Eagles again threatening for more, getting a first down inside the Cowboy 20-yard line, and he has been a workhorse today on this 9-play drive.
Well, a little different style here. You got Cecil Martin going in motion, and he's going to get out there in front to lead block for him. You don't see him run sweeps that often, but he's able to get the block on Jamal Brooks, and then Deuce Staley gets up inside for the first down.
So over 100 yards rushing for Deuce Staley, who had 146 on the ground against the Vikings last week. He's right at 100. So he's starting to get it going at the right time, coming back from that injury. Here is Staley again on first down, working his way close to the 15. That win on the stop. So it has been a good day for Deuce. Last week, 23 touches, more today. Got 134 yards. Total yardage, and here is Staley again, and this time he is upended with Woodson coming up to make the play.
Well, they got Darren Woodson coming up in there again, creating the 8th guy in the box, and Darren Woodson is one of those guys who he's really a linebacker. In fact, he was a linebacker at Arizona State in college before he got drafted by the Dallas Cowboys, and he gets up there and creates the 8th man. They know that in order for them to be effective as a defense, they have to be able to stop the run. They've not been able to do a very good job of that in this series, but he's got to be the guy who creates the mismatch and allows to be the extra guy to get back in the backfield and stop the running game.
Very active game, 8 tackles. He has an interception, several passes defensed. Third down and 8. Here is Cecil Martin with his first reception of the game. Will be short of the first down. They'll need about 4 yards. So David Akers, who's had a perfect 4 for 4 day, will come on to try to make it 5 for 5. His longest from 46 yards, the others short of 30. This will be a 30-yard field goal attempt by Akers. And Akers' kick is good, and the Eagles lead 29-3. So Akers had only 13 field goal attempts before today. He has 5 this afternoon. He's made them all. Well, that Troy Aikman is leaving the building. Moose is staying, but the real Troy Aikman is still here with 3:13 remaining in the fourth quarter. As Akers kicks off to Swinton, who's 5 yards in the end zone. Reggie Swinton upended and loses the ball, but he was down by contact. 3:03 remaining. Yes, Moose is still here, and he's going to take some more pictures too. There's a vantage point for a youngster. Staying to the end as the Cowboys trail the Eagles 29-3. Dallas ball. First down on the 24. Ryan Leaf with Eagles and a interception by William Hampton, and he dives in for the touchdown. So William Hampton, a rookie from Murray State, gets into the act as the Eagles get their second touchdown off an interception today. The first one really might have put it away at the end of the first half, but here's this latest.
Well, he's trying to go to Mike Lucky. He gets grabbed. The ball sails, gets away from him. He had Mike Lucky there in the hole, and William Hampton sitting outside and in a rolled 2 coverage, and just gets a gift.
33-yard return for a score, and how delighted must he be. William Hampton, and the extra point is good, and with 2:51 to go, the Eagles now lead 36-3. But the backbreaker really came at the end of the first half, that last play, when it was still 13-0 at the time, Philadelphia.
Yeah, the Cowboys were still very much in the ball game at that time, and I don't know still what exactly they were trying to get out of that pass there before the half. Even if they complete the pass, they're still not in a position to try to attempt a field goal with time running out. A poor throw on Ryan Leaf's part, who, you know, he's had a tough afternoon and some poor throws, and that happens against this Philadelphia Eagle defense, though. I don't know that you can look at his performance today and really come to any real conclusions or evaluations just based on today's play.
That first interception that you referred to was Jeremiah Trotter running it in 50 yards out on the flat as time ran out in the first half.
Yeah, and we just saw the list of miscues by the Dallas Cowboys this afternoon, and this is a team from a talent level standpoint that really has to come into a game knowing that they have to play virtually air-free, especially against a team like the Philadelphia Eagles, and they can't afford to have the turnovers and the penalties and just all the mistakes that they've had today, putting themselves in poor field position. And on top of that, for them to come out and get the kind of start they did today, but you have to take your hats off to the Philadelphia Eagles football team. On the defensive side of the ball, one of the things that they wanted to do coming into today and continuing down the stretch was create turnovers. And they had some last week against the Minnesota Vikings. They continued that this week. And more impressive, they did it without using a whole lot of pressure. We have not seen the amount of pressure today that I thought we would from defensive coordinator Jim Johnson.
Here is the kickoff again deeper into the end zone, and a touchback coming up. Well, the Eagles defense, Moose, and you touched on it.
Well, I mean, it started off with that sack by Troy Vincent, and he really set the tone. And then Bobby Taylor with the first key turnover, and then Dallas self-destructs on the center exchange.
And then you get pressure there again by Troy Vincent. And the interception right there to Jeremiah Trotter before the half, that was the one that really broke their back. And then the last one here that William Hampton's able to get and run that in, and it's just been one of those days. And when you're not a real good football team, which the Dallas Cowboys aren't, the slightest little mistake is really compounded against a good football team.
Boy, this Eagle defense just doesn't give up points on the road. And they've continued it, giving up only 3. And Michael Wiley on the carry, picking up 9 yards with Al Harris on the stop. And all that goes back to Jim Johnson, who you talked about with great respect earlier in the game, Troy.
Well, we talked about him a little bit earlier, and to me, having played against him and then having watched film here over the last several weeks, he does as good a job as anybody in the business. And the thing that he does, you can talk about, hey, we're going to bring pressure, but he gives a lot of the same looks and brings people from all over the field. He does a tremendous job of breaking down offensive protections. In fact, he spends an entire day on Tuesday just breaking down offensive protections, and it shows in the way that his team is able to come out and play.
Andy Reid said he ran into him and at the Pro Bowl as we look at this penalty.
False start. offense.
when both staffs were there, when Jimmy Johnson was with the Colts,
remains second down.
and then and Andy Reid was with the Green Bay Packers, and he first started to talk to him there about a coach that he'd want to hire.
Well, he knew that Jimmy Johnson would bring a style that he wanted to have as a head coach. He knew that as an offensive coach that the style that Jim Johnson brings is one that creates problems and confusion. Not to mention, this Philadelphia Eagle defense is a defense that is not an overly big group. They're very active and athletic, and it plays right into the scheme that Jim Johnson uses.
Here's another bad snap story, and Ryan Leaf will throw it away. So Derek Burgess putting pressure on, and a bad snap from center. Mark Stepnoski. I think the Cowboys are tired of all this. It's been their story in the last couple of weeks. In fact, all season. We'll be back.
Direct snap to him on a running play just to compound the problem a little bit, and that thing just comes out a little bit high and sails over his head. And there's offensive coordinator Jack Riley, and he's been under a lot of pressure down here in the Dallas area throughout the course of this season.
3rd down and 6 on the 24. Michael Wiley reversing direction. And tackled 3 yards shy of the first down.
You talk about the job that Jack Riley has done, and as Moose just mentioned, he has been under a lot of criticism here in the Dallas area about some of the games that he's called. But you know, I can tell you that when you're shuffling quarterbacks in and the personnel, receivers have been hurt, Jackie Harris has been down, Joey Galloway has missed time, Rocket Ismail, along with the quarterbacks, it's just hard to develop any kind of continuity. And when you're working with a young football team, you've got to be relatively basic in your approach. And he's had his work cut out for him in trying to come up with some schemes that give this team a chance. And more times than not, they're working against pretty good defensive football teams week in and week out.
Well, with all the evaluation of the, there's another bad snap and the kick, and it's deflected. The Eagles got a piece of that one. So the bad snap saga continues for the Dallas Cowboys. Quentin Caber that time got a piece of it, and a penalty flag is down. And it will be against the Cowboys. There is the new snapper, Mike Sobol.
Kicking team, number 50. Penalties decline. First down.
Well, they had problems on this team.
Well, they only had 3 days to work with this during the course of the week, and you know, it's going to be hard to get the mechanics down, and you're making your debut here at Texas Stadium, and you know what could possibly have gone wrong for the Dallas Cowboys has this afternoon, and Philadelphia has done a great job of taking advantage of those mistakes. And it's just been a long day, and that's really all you can say about what's happened today.
Well, there will be a second half of this doubleheader, and the fans in Dallas who have not enjoyed this game will get to look in on the Bears and the Bucks coming up next. And let's take a look at the Philadelphia Eagles upcoming schedule, and they will face the Washington Redskins next Sunday at home. Their road games against Kansas City, Washington, San Francisco, Tampa Bay, which now is played January 6th, was supposed to be the second week, so it's there for the Eagles.
Well, you look at those last 3 games there, and no game's easy, but you look at the finishers at San Francisco and the Giants, and then again at Tampa Bay, and you know, those 3 in itself are going to say a lot about this football team. But I think you got to look at what happened today. You can only go 1 week at a time, and I think that they were able to come out. Yeah, maybe they didn't play with the same emotion they did a week ago, but they were able to accomplish what they wanted and just did an outstanding job.
So Andy Reid and the Eagles win. They go to 6-3 on the year. They have won 7 straight on the road, 4 in a row against Dallas. They are on a roll. So for Troy Aikman, Darryl Johnston, and Pam Oliver, this is Dick Stockton saying so long from Texas Stadium. Once again, the final score, the Eagles 36 and the Cowboys 3. Stay tuned for the Spy Games break with JB, Terry, Howie, and Chris after these messages. For more information on today's game and the latest NFL news, log on to foxsports.com. So long, everybody.